Today we're going to talk about the 50% rule. Let me read it to you now. When your property is located in a flood zone and you want to make improvements, renovations, or repairs, the cost cannot exceed 50% of the market value of your home, or FEMA will require you to either raise the house up to the base flood elevation or you have to tear it down and build new. That's a heck of a rule and a lot to unpack. Let's get started. First, you need to know what flood zone you are in. The zones were redone last year, so yours might have changed. The best place to check is your county's website. You can type in your address and voila, you see your zone, or in this case, zones. If either zone starts with an A or V, the property is in a flood zone and the 50% rule applies. On this map, the blue represents AE flood zone, the light gray is not in a flood zone, and the darker gray is where the house is located on the lot. If the entire structure is not in a flood zone, then the 50% rule does not apply. But even if a corner of the structure is in a flood zone, then the 50% rule does apply. To figure out how much you can spend on renovations or repairs, you take the improvement, which means house value, and divide it in half. Land value doesn't count. In this case, the homeowner could spend $416,000. Anything more and the 50% rule would kick in. Next is finding the elevation. You simply can use an app on Google or Apple phones, or more accurately, pay a surveyor to do an elevation certificate. Going back to our example, let's say the elevation is at 7 feet. For AE zones in Sarasota County, the base flood elevation required is 10 feet. So, if this homeowner wanted to spend more than $416,000 on renovations or repairs, the house would need to be raised up 3 feet or torn down and rebuilt. The tricky part is each location has different height requirements. For example, Longboat Key requires 3 feet higher than FEMA's requirements in the VE coastal zone, whereas the city of Sarasota requires 1 foot more. Sometimes a flood zone is surprising. Take Bird Key. You can see there are homes that are in the VE and AE zones, but there are some not in a flood zone at all. The 50% rule does apply to condos, but it's obviously more complex, so check with the condo property manager. As you can see, every town and every lot is different. So the 50% rule can be kind of confusing. I hope this video helped, but if you have any specific questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Wishing you a wonderful Friday and even better weekend. Take care.